Hello everyone, welcome to the Majestic TV News Update. I am Lillian, your anchor for today. The high-stakes arbitration surrounding Nigeria's Mambilla Hydroelectric Power Project is intensifying. This week in Paris, former Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo, Muhammadu Buhari, and ex-Minister Babatunde Fashola testified as key witnesses in a $6 billion dispute. The saga dates back to 2003, when Sunrise Power was awarded the contract for the ambitious 3,050 megawatt plant. However, in 2017, the Nigerian government signed a $5.8 billion deal with the Chinese consortium, allegedly breaching the initial agreement. Sunrise Power responded by seeking $2.3 billion in damages through arbitration. The testimonies from these prominent figures highlight the immense stakes involved. Billions of dollars and Nigeria's energy future hang in the balance. Rumors suggest that President Tinubu had to compel his predecessor, President Buhari, to attend the arbitration in Paris. What's your take on this unfolding drama? Don't miss any updates. Subscribe to Majestic TV and join the conversation as we bring you the latest developments on this and other breaking stories.
Hello, great people. In a shocking, unexpected move, President Tinubu has dragged the immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari, to the International Chamber of Commerce Court of Arbitration in Paris, France, for Buhari to account for mismanagement, corruption, and irregularities that happened during his reign as president. Tinubu could no longer hold the excesses that happened during the Buhari regime, and he compelled Buhari that, no, this time you must bear your father's name. You must appear and make account for what happened during your reign. What prompted it? What is Buhari accounting for? What is the political dynamics that is playing out? For you to understand this, we will be taking a journey back to 1999 to 2005 for you to understand this very deeply, because it is about the Mambilla Power Project. You remember the Mambilla Power Project that they usually accuse the former president Obasanjo of $6 billion. Usually, yeah, it's $6 billion, $6 billion. Why is electricity in Nigeria yet to improve? What is really happening? What is the power play? What happened to that money? What happened to that contract? Follow me on this journey for us to understand what is happening and why Buhari is in court and the implication of it for both the present government of Nigeria and the past leadership of Nigerians. Hear what Nigerians are facing in the hands of their politicians, and trust me, you will nod your head in shame for the kind of leadership that Nigeria have produced over the years. In 1999, when President Olusegun Obasanjo emerged as president at that time, like any reasonable president, the issue of the power as the issue of power in Nigeria was top on his mind. He wants Nigeria to have constant electricity, having realized what power holds in today's economy and the use of technology. So Obasanjo was interested in making sure that Nigeria have constant power supply. And in the process of that, a man showed up called Leno Adesanya. Leno Adesanya introduced the Mambilla Hydroelectric Power Project to the Nigerian government, according to what I read. So he was the one that was facilitating it. He involved some companies in China. And at the end of the day, when they were able to do the bidding, the man, because he was the front runner of that thing, he was able to win that particular project for $6 billion US. When Leno Adesanya won the contract, he is to execute the contract with another Chinese company. I think Sinfo something, the name of the Chinese company. So let me just call the name of the Chinese company SIP. That's SIF. That's a short form of the exact name of the company. So he is to execute the contract with SIP, a Chinese company, and everything was going on fine. But there were some interested parties during the Obasanjo time, because immediately they heard that $6 billion was involved. Then it became a problem. There were beginning to be some power tussle, some power play among the key people in the government. Now, when Obasanjo left as president and Yaradua came on board, the dynamics, the power play also changed. The Yaradua team was also interested in the money. So they were pushing the man, the Leno Adesanya, who was in charge of it, the Nigerian part. You know, if you are to execute a $6 billion project, there's no way you won't have like a Nigerian partner, in the sense that you will need recruitment, logistics, modalities, knowledge of the local terrain, a lot of things that will be involved. So this Leonard Osonya's company, called the Sunrise Power and Transmission Company of Nigeria, is to align with SIP, the short form of that Chinese company's name. But when Yar'Adua came, there were some power play and some power dynamics. When Yar'Adua traveled to China, he got wind of the power play, and he tried to mediate into it and see that everything got resolved. So government by government, they were trying to cut the powers of Leonard Osonya's company, which is the Sunrise Power and Transmission Company, that the contract was awarded to execute it with SIP. And when Yar'Adua tried to resolve it, some of the powers, some of the things that can bring goodies for Sunrise that was held by Leonard Osonya was cut short. Goodluck Jonathan came, the same thing continued. At some point, they brought in another company called CGGC&C to execute the project alongside that company called SIP. So when they brought CGC&C, then CGC&C was to have about 50%, and that SIP, the first Chinese company, was to have 50% as well, in terms of the outside modalities, bringing in of technologies, equipment, and the general, external needs for the contract to be executed. Now, the power play continued during the Goodluck Jonathan time, and as the power play continued, the power play was mainly between the Nigerian political elite. Not that the Chinese company had any issues. The Chinese company were straightforward, but the power play was among the political elite in the sense that what is in it for me? What will happen to the money that will be released? So most of them, they were dragging the Sunrise Power and Transmission Company headed by Leonard Osonya. They were dragging him back and forth, creating a lot of issues and headache for the man, but the man was cooperating with them. Now, to fast forward, there were no much issue during the time of Obasanjo, Yar'Adua. It was just like a power play that, what is in it for me. And I think during Yar'Adua or Jonathan's time, about $15 million was released, and it was a high-ranking government official that allegedly pocketed $15 million, that there was this corruption as regards, okay, we will give you this opportunity, we will allow you to do the way some of these government things works. And some government officials, headed by one major high-ranking government official, pocketed $15 million at that point in time. Now, the most interesting part is not that of the most interesting part of the story. It's not even that of the Yar'Adua, because Yar'Adua tried to mediate peace, and I think at some point they hand over the contract to another company apart from Sunrise. When Yar'Adua got wind of the exact truth, he ordered that the contract be returned to Leonard Osonya's company, which is Sunrise Power and Transmission Company. So Yar'Adua was quite fair. Now, the power tussle, the power play goes on and on based on the money involved, based on the kind of the humongousness of the project. The power tussle went on and on till it get to the Buhari period. And this is where it gets very interesting. When Buhari came on board, Buhari was to do a state visit to China. But surprisingly, that Mambilla Power Project, which is something important that connects Nigeria and China, was not listed in the what the president will address in China. So this Leno Adesoya used his links. He's a well-connected guy. He used his contact to influence the people in Buhari's team when he was traveling to China at that time, which is the likes of El Rufai and some and some like 3 key people at that point in time, to tell Buhari about the Mambilla Power Project. When they told Buhari, Buhari was annoyed that there is a $6 billion project that is important to the life of Nigerians, which is electricity, and you didn't inform me. If you had informed me, I would have told you to put the key stakeholders that are involved, to put them in the team. And you did inform me the key stakeholders are not in the team. And one of the key stakeholders was the then Taraba State governor. At that time, he wasn't in the team. When they got to China, the issue came up. Buhari did some little negotiation that he could do. And Buhari returned back to Nigeria after like 4 days or 3 days. Now, this is where Buhari made the mistake of his life. When he got back to Nigeria, you know, Buhari, he could be very laid back. He doesn't have the energy to do any rigorous work and that's why I pity Nigerians. Because at the end of the day, when you employ people that doesn't have the rigor, the strength for what it takes to be a president of a country like Nigeria, you will, at the end of the day, suffer it. Because at the end of the day, now Nigeria may pay, again, damages up to about 2.7 billion US dollars. But I'm getting there. Now, Buhari now delegated Abba Kyari, that Abba Kyari should go and negotiate the deal. Abba Kyari went to China, did the negotiation, and at the end of the day, he came back with a deal of about 5.7 billion US dollars. During the Obasanjo time, I think it was about 6 billion, but Abba Kyari came back with a deal of 5.7 based on the negotiation that Buhari did when Buhari traveled. But the problem is that Abba Kyari was as greedy as anything. This problem that Buhari is facing now was created by Abba Kyari. I didn't want to tell you at the beginning. If you have patience to watch this video to this extent, it's about to get interesting. Now, Abba Kyari negotiated the deal. When he came back, Buhari fell sick. Buhari was abroad battling for his life. At that time, little did Nigerians know that Abba Kyari was the one that was literally, allegedly ruling Nigeria. In the sense that Abba Kyari now unilaterally removed the pioneer of the project, the person that even influenced the project in the first day during Obasanjo's time, the Leonard Adesonya's company, Sunrise Power and Transmission Company of Nigeria. Abba Kyari, in his nepotistic manner, now went to bring a company in Kaduna, one straight company in Kaduna, and he removed that Sunrise company that had been following up the project since 1999. During the Obasanjo time, I think between 1999 and 2007, when the contract was awarded. So Abba Kyari removed Sunrise Power and Transmission Company. Malami, the then Attorney General, was against it. Malami said, no, this can't happen. Then they were exchanging letters back and forth, internal communication. They took the matter to the former Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo. Yemi Osinbajo, as at then, couldn't do anything. Abba Kyari overruled Osinbajo. Yemi Osinbajo couldn't intervene. You know that Yemi Osinbajo was one time given the power as acting president. All of a sudden, when Buhari traveled, they didn't give him such power again. It was influenced by Abba Kyari. And at that time, Osinbajo couldn't even do anything, despite being a professor of law. Abba Kyari successfully overruled everybody and awarded the contract to the Kaduna firm, ruling out the Leonard Adesonya's company, Sunrise Power and Transmission Company. At that point in time, Leonard Adesonya was trying to beg Abba Kyari that, no, you can't do this. I have invested money, like a lot is at stake. You know, I also have partners. Abba Kyari told him to go to court. And in the contract clause that they signed during the Obasanjo's time, the country of arbitration is France, and the court that they agreed on will be the International Chamber of Commerce Court of Arbitration in Paris, France. You know, when you want to sign contract with a country, you may decide not to use the judiciary of that country if there's any crisis, so that you can get justice and fairness. Abba Kyari told him to go to court. Leonard Adesonya's company, Sunrise Power and Transmission Company of Nigeria, went to court. That is the case that has been dragging. And when the matter now got to its peak, but Tinubu hands was tied. People usually see Buhari as Mr. Integrity. It was when Tinubu got to power that he realized that Buhari didn't do anything. There was no money. There was literally no performance. Everything that they were saying was more of lies and propaganda. They created problem for Tinubu. They have used some of the oil as collateral for loan. There's nothing for Tinubu to work with. And at the end of the day, Tinubu had no choice than to be implementing some of these policies that are now bringing pain to Nigeria. And I've said it before. Now, one of the problems I have with Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is now correcting himself, is that aspect of political correctness. Buhari literally set the pit for Tinubu to fail. And now that Tinubu is trying to maneuver, some of the people in Buhari camp are even the one tackling Tinubu that, oh, Emilokon. See now, during our time, things went like this. Despite they knowing that Buhari didn't make any performance, he didn't set any opportunity for Tinubu to succeed. So Tinubu couldn't have it anymore. They have collected a lot of loans. They have used some of our oil deposit as collateral. There was nothing for him to work with. So when this issue came up, Tinubu had no choice than to insist that Buhari must go and account for what happened during his government. Because as at when Abba Kyari was flexing muscle, was acting like president, was holding the presidential power, some of these people tried to, alert Buhari. They tried to call Buhari to order. Buhari wouldn't listen to anybody for reason best known to him. And now that the problem has evolved, Tinubu insisted that Buhari should go and account for what happened in his government. The worst part of it now is Abba Kyari is now late. He's no longer alive. It would have been interesting if Abba Kyari was alive, because now, if they can't prove any justifiable reason why the company of Leonard Adesanya, the Sunrise Company, was excluded, Nigeria have to pay that man about 2.7 billion US dollars in damages. So even if the Tinubu government will bear that body, at least Buhari too should try and face the heat, because people have been saying, especially in the north, oh, Mr. Integrity, and some of the Buhari camp have been the one that are even speaking bad about Tinubu. And Tinubu is aware. So Tinubu thought in his mind that I've been shielding you people. I've been trying to be politically correct. And at the end of the day, you guys are now seeing yourself as star. In the eyes of the world, Buhari is Mr. Integrity. Buhari is a good guy. But in the eyes of the world, he is the drug bearer, he is the certificate forger, he is the man that doesn't have integrity, he's the one that is inflicting hardship, he's the one that, okay, don't worry, I've received more than enough bullet for you guys in terms of political correctness. Now you guys should go and account for what is happening. And that is why Buhari didn't want to appear. He was reluctant. But Tinubu government had to force him. The Attorney General, Lateef Fagbemi, told him explicitly that whether you like it or not, you must appear before the court to account for what happened in your government. And it is unprecedented, because people don't usually appear. Normally, what usually happens is when you are president, whatever you do, that is the end. Immediately you leave, they can be dragging your aides, your assistant, but they won't drag you. But this time, Tinubu have decided, no, as the court has demanded, you, Buhari, must appear. Kudos to Tinubu. Let us be fair to ourselves. Let us praise the man anytime he has done well. It doesn't cost him anything to shoot Buhari. He will just send one of his aides, maybe all this Malami during the Buhari time, or anybody, or even the Attorney General at the moment, Lateef Fagbemi, to go and speak on behalf of Nigeria. After all, government is continuing. But Tinubu insists that Buhari should go and give account. What else can the man do? We don't hate anybody. We don't like anybody on this channel. On this aspect, Tinubu has done right. He has done the right thing. And may God give him the strength to see this case to the end, in such a way that even at the end of the day, if Nigeria is to pay any damages, the world would have known the truth, that the Buhari government brought nothing more than enormous calamity to Nigeria. And it will be interesting in the days ahead, because more revelation will come. And I hope that Tinubu will not backtrack. May God lead him right, and may God grant Nigeria success. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode. See you in my next video. Subscribe to this channel. I love you all sincerely.